Hi everybody, Gail from Gail's Bookish Things. I'm back to do another ink of the week review. I have this down as 11 and I feel like it should be 12 already, so I may have mixed up somewhere along the line on my week counting, but let's go ahead and talk about it anyway. This past week I did the Vinta Laguna color. It's actually St. Paul's or St. something. I just saw on their website Laguna, but I was just calling it Laguna. It's not in this pen anymore. I just inked this for this coming week, but I did have it in my TWSBI 1.1 stub, and then I had in my let me see which pen. Okay, in my, I think it was in my Bennu Briolette. I've already switched these out. Yes, okay. This barely has any ink left in it. It's writing now, but it's almost empty. So in this one, I had the Pilot Shinryuku. Not sure about the pronunciation, but it's a beautiful color. So I primarily was wanting to focus on the red, but I ended up liking this one so much that I made comments on that one as well. This one is going to be cleaned out for this week because I don't like to have too many pens going, and as you can see I have 4 in here and 1 on the outside. So anyway, the Laguna color by Vinta is a deep red. It's like a what do they call it, like a brick, a red brick color, and I think that's a pretty good color description. This Vinta ink is based on buildings, I think I read on the website, that are in the Philippines where this ink is produced, and so this is reminiscent of a particular building and the weathered red brick on there. I thought this ink was wonderful on the Tora Next paper and the Cosmo, and it was nice on the Amazon Traveler's Notebook inserts and Tomoe River paper. I'm mentioning, or have mentioned before, that I love the Cosmo paper for so many of these, and because I think I get a more controlled feeling when I'm writing. Sometimes it seems like it's a little slippery if you have a really wet ink and a nib that's a broad or something, and the ink is just really flowing. Or even with a fine nib, I sometimes feel like the paper can be a little more slippery than I like, although I do love Tomoe River paper. Love writing on it. The Cosmo paper, as I've said, but just to repeat myself again, it worked really well with this ink. I feel like it just kind of grips the nib of your pen, and it doesn't slip as much, but it's still a very smooth writing experience. So those two papers really right now are ranking in my top. The Cosmo, the Tora Next is really nice as well. I have a sample of that, but I did buy some Cosmo paper, so that's what I use more often. Every paper that I tried the Laguna ink on, the Cosmo, Tomoe River, Leuchtturm, Tora Next or Toro Next, and Moleskine, I had a favorable experience, but I didn't like it as well on Rhodia or MD paper. It seemed really dry in the MD, that just soaked it up, and you didn't get the nice ink elements to it as much. And the Rhodia, I like trying that paper, but I don't think I like the coatedness of it maybe as much as some of these. And it might just be that it's not the one that I'm used to. I think it's kind of like whatever you start out with, perhaps kind of becomes your favorite. This ink goes on like a deep blood red, I would say, and it dries more. Here, it looks like a deep red. But in some lighting, it almost has a more brownish tone to it, like a brownish red versus just a deep red. And it's very saturated looking, but I really loved writing with it. I had a little bit left in my red TWSBI, and I hated to take it out. I put it back in the sample vial, but I did want to try a different color this week. Anyway, very wonderful writing experience. So much so that I decided to order a bottle, and I ordered a few more samples of the vintage ink, which I will show when they arrive. Let's see. Loved it in my TWSBI 1.1 stub nib, which I've been saying is a very flowy, wet ink, very nice. And I said that this type of red is rich and deep, and I prefer it over a brighter popping red. So let me look at this pen. A red like this, for example, I wouldn't enjoy writing with as much. I like the earthy, deeper tone to this sort of red. And then just to speak briefly on the Pilot Shin Ryoku that I put in my Bennu Briolette. This is a broad nib. I also like this very much on Tomoe River paper, Cosmo, and my Moleskine, or Moleskina, I've heard people say. I said very pleasant, but may not be my favorite green, but it's not a green that I dislike, and the more I used it, the more I actually liked the green, and I would seriously consider buying this. The reason I hesitated was just because I'm thinking of a green like Alt Goldgrün, or what's the other one I have, Olivine, kind of more a, would you call it a mossy green, or a warm green. This maybe to me seems more like a cool green, but I may be wrong on that analysis. But I like it a lot, and the more I wrote with it, like I said, I really enjoyed it. So I would consider buying this, but I probably would wait on this green because it is similar, slightly similar to some of the greens that I have. I think depending on how you look at this, it could be interpreted as a turquoise. And I have a few inks like that now. The Bennu Briolette and the Cosmo Tomoe River paper were a very nice writing combination too. I wrote there. Really had a lot of fun this week using my Bennu Briolette. I brought it to church today to take notes, and it worked perfectly fine. But I did think next time I'm going somewhere where I'm not having a table to write at, I probably would use a different pen, because I was hanging on to this and writing with this. I mean, maybe you could force it. It doesn't post, not designed to post. And this was just kind of a nuisance. I stuck it in my pocket. I would say, or for myself anyway, next time I won't use a non-postable pen cap. But it was great writing. I used my author notebook with a Tomoe River paper. So this coming week, oh, I don't know if I said, with both of those inks, well, I did say with the Shin Ryoku, but with the TWSBI like and would buy and did buy. Whoopsie, lost my place here. Drat. Gotta look at my tabs. Here we go. Back to this. This is filling up nicely. This has been fun to do this evaluation, and I'm glad that I've kept with it. Actually, I was thinking I would cut it short at about 6 weeks, but I've enjoyed these comparisons. I was talking briefly, or just chatting, in a conversation comments box with Gadget Stop 321, Kathy, and she started doing kind of comparisons just so she could remember which inks worked well in her pens, and I'm finding that to be true for me too. Not every ink and pen is a good combination with every nib, but part of the fun is trying it out and seeing what works. So next week, this coming week, we're going to do, let me see where I put it. Oh, here it is. My Franklin Christoph Fine Sig Nib. That's Stub Italic Gradient. Don't ask for an explanation. I've forgotten, but you can look it up. But this is a very fine nib, but I really like writing with it. But it's much finer than my normal preference. And then I'm using my beautiful Franklin Christoph, a new pen from my husband. No. Back up. I'm sorry. That's not what I meant to say. I'm using my TWSBI Eco stub, the 1.1. And I have the Carnival ink in this by Vinta. I think they look really pretty. I don't know if you can get the color of that ink through there. It's really a nice blue green, as you can see here. This is similar to maybe my Kujaku or my Pilot or my Lamy, whatever it's called, tourmaline, aquamarine, no, tourmaline ink. So I don't know that I'll buy this, but I'm certainly eager to try them out. I will let you know what I think. If I hold it on this white, I thought maybe we could see the color. Not sure if that's showing through, but I'm excited to try these two different stub type nibs, a broad and a fine, and we'll see which one is preferred. But they're all nice writing experiences. I love the width of this nib, similar to my Leonardo Momento 01. I like the looks of that a lot. But that's what I have. As usual, I have my Pilot fine, my cute little $5 pen or whatever it was. And then I just am finishing up the ink in my green Twisby. So it'll be a fun week. I love mixing it up each week. It really keeps it fresh for me, and I'm always looking for the opportunity to write with my ink pens, which I'm sure you are too if you enjoy this hobby as well. Thank you for watching. Hope you had a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.